Hello. I'm going to be presenting my autobiographical presentation here, so I'll jump right in. So let me move this over here. For the values card sort, my top one was faith. I grew up in a Christian family, and just kind of had a love for God and for each other, and relationships in my life just kind of instilled in me from a young age. And so faith is something that still feels just very top of the list for me. Second one I got was helping others. So just placing an importance on the needs of others, helping other people. Also meaningful work, which does tie in with faith. My belief that whatever I'm doing to honor and glorify God. So work that has purpose and significance. Ethics also ties in with my faith, just kind of valuing moral standards. And then service, again, tied in with faith. They're all kind of tied in with that top one. I just place importance on serving others. The values card sort said with value or with quality and value, which for me means loving everyone in the way that I believe Christ calls us to love unconditionally, sacrificially, etc. So that was for my values card sort. Uh, Next, the decision-making style. I got systemic and external decision maker. There are all the characteristics there, but I do feel like this resonates with kind of all the other assessments I took, as well as what I kind of know to be true about myself. So I think, yeah, much of them just made sense, particularly being cautious about making commitments, analytical and logical when making decisions, just kind of thinking about decisions out loud and consulting others before making a decision. So that one just felt more affirming, if anything. And then the EQ I scored in the 70s and 80s for all of them. So I think that said that it was skills to strengthen or skills to build on. So I can just use this as an opportunity to discover behaviors that might allow me to enhance my performance, or to positively impact my relationships. Just kind of reflect on these things, and also can look over the behaviors which I might have scored higher on, and just consider how I can polish my skills in those areas. Next, the self-directed search. I thought this one was really interesting. We did talk about this in class a little bit, but just how in the hexagon, my characteristics, one of them was on the opposite side. So there is a less likelihood of having more occupations, which all three will be present, all three of those characteristics. Um, I think on my list of the occupational list that is suggested, there were only two, musicians and nurses were the only possible occupations I could have according to this. So I guess my counseling career is done. No, I'm just kidding. It was interesting though to see. Um, the S, the social piece of kind of taking this, I enjoy helping, teaching, and working with others. C, the conventional piece, I do enjoy structured and organized work with kind of data or information. And then A, the artistic, prefers creative and expressive activities. I also was reflecting on this. I really do enjoy kind of outdoors and things, which would be more realistic. But real quick, I'll pause and do my artifact here. So I don't know if you can see in the video. I have some knitting. I'm working on a scarf. So this is my artifact, and I think it really speaks to activities, non-work activities I do, which Holland recommends that your personality outside of work and the work personality should really mesh, and that's where it can be the happiest. And so my hobby here aligns more with the artistic pieces, the lesser one of the three top scores there. But I love doing arts and crafts and either outdoors or anything like that. So I think that being a big piece, as I look at a career in counseling coming up, um, I think that'll be a really helpful way to kind of regulate and step outside when I'm not in the counseling room, just to be able to kind of reset and be happy and kind of balance that out. So I thought that was really interesting, that score. But yeah. And next is my Myers-Briggs type indicator. I tested for ISFJ, and I pulled these from the tests that I took. So, introversion, sensing, feeling, and judging. I thought this one actually resonated the least out of all of the assessments I took, because I more resonate with the INFJ. I had always kind of been an INFJ every time I've taken it over the years, so this was the first time I tested as ISFJ. And I do believe that there are probably circumstances, be it my mood, the environment I was in, being indecisive about some different questions that led to it maybe being having a different result this time. But I included both of them so you guys could see. But those are what each of those stand for. And the N, the intuition, I feel like I resonate more with that combination with the I, F, and J. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really interesting, and I always love taking personality tests to kind of see where I'm at any given life stage. So it was interesting. Feedback, I thought it was helpful along the process. It's like I wrote here, it's a muscle I'm still kind of developing, both giving and receiving clinical feedback. Um, at first, it felt a little bit clunky just because it's something that's new and I'm not as used to. But again, once I kind of flex that muscle, get used to giving, receiving clinical feedback and what that looks like, I'll continue to kind of reflect on myself in areas, both strengths and needing improvement. So, yeah. And then developing a professional greenhouse. So for this, I looked at characteristics to both seek and avoid in peers I might come across in the workplace. When just thinking about, in my own experience, what has been helpful to notice, I think about characteristics to seek being open communication, empathy, willingness to collaborate, reliability, good active listeners, and characteristics to avoid being gossip, any sort of negativity, being uncooperative, a lack of respect or insulting others, or being dismissive. And then characteristics to seek in licensed supervisors. I am just, as I think, again, kind of looking forward about what's been helpful in past sort of mentorship relationships I've had, and what I anticipate being helpful in supervisor relationships, being open to discussion, supervisors being available for questions, being supportive and understanding and offering meaningful feedback, offering positive reinforcement and encouragement for me towards self-reflection and self-care to kind of help me prevent burnout, which is something that I think I would really need, or I knew I would need. And then in terms of trainings, workshops, certificates, and things, I know that the National Career Development Association, the NDCA, has some opportunities, as well as the National Board for Certified Counselors, the NBCC. And then, of course, the APA and ACA, the American Psychological Association and the American Counseling Association. And then desired settings and client issues or demographics that I might be interested in, and include, well, when I think about a space, I think I'm more drawn to more of a home-ish setting, a comfortable setting that doesn't have harsh fluorescent lighting. Just thinking about places I've worked in the past and where I felt like I can either think clearly or just am generally happier to go into work. So I was thinking maybe that'll be some sort of private practice setting, not as much of a big corporate setting, if possible. And then client demographics, I think I am interested more in working with adults, an individual kind of modality setting and type of client issues. Right now, I feel comfortable exploring issues like depression, anxiety, grief, life transitions, personal growth, self-improvement, and even attachment issues. I think that those are points of interest for me right now and things that I'd just like to grow in and learn a little bit more about. So thank you so much. That is me.